We begin with breaking news tonight. President Trump was escorted out of the White House briefing room today after a scare outside of the White House. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Barbara Lee Edwards.
I'm Carlo Cicchetto. It happened as the president was beginning a coronavirus briefing.
The way they're going, it looks like they're just about going to be topping records, hopefully soon. Excuse me?
The president returned minutes later saying there was a shooting outside the White House.
I'd like to thank the Secret Service for doing their always quick and very effective work. But there was an actual shooting, and somebody's been taken to the hospital. I don't know the condition of the person.
The president went on to continue the briefing without further interruption.
Weeks before the start of the San Diego Unified School year now, officials announced today it could be months before students can return to class.
The San Diego Unified officials say their reopening plan will be based on recommendations from a panel of UC San Diego researchers. News 8's Shannon Handy has more on what needs to happen before kids will be allowed back inside classrooms.
The San Diego Unified School year starts online August 31st. At this point, there's no specific date as to when students can return back to the classroom. As for what it's going to take, district officials have set their own metrics, which are stricter than the state's.
It will be a matter of months, not weeks, not days, that we can anticipate the majority of our students continuing to be working at home in online learning.
A sobering announcement from San Diego Unified officials Monday as they discuss reopening plans and what needs to happen before in-person learning can resume.
Particularly the case rate in the community outbreaks on one side, and then the other side having to do with testing and tracing the positivity rate. We have set one of the highest standards for any district in the country.
Those standards are based on research done by a panel of UCSD experts the district has been working with for months. Officials say it comes down to science and numbers. Right now, San Diego County averages 110 COVID-19 cases per 100,000 residents. The state metrics to reopening schools calls for 100 cases. But San Diego Unified officials won't consider reopening schools until the numbers are even lower than that.
We also would want to make sure that community outbreaks, so clusters of cases, we're under 7. Right now we're at 24.
When schools do reopen, it will be done in phases.
We're going to do it slowly and carefully.
Once back in the classroom, masks will be required, as well as an emphasis on disinfecting common areas. Ventilation will play a key role as well.
As much as can be done outside will be done outside.
District leaders admit reopening schools won't be easy and will come at a much higher cost. They want the federal government to step in and offer more financial support.
The federal government has failed to act.
They're also urging the community to help, saying if people continue to ignore safety protocols, there's no telling when kids will be allowed back in school.
This has to be every single person in San Diego County working hard, social distancing, wearing your mask, avoiding large gatherings to slow the spread of this virus, or else we cannot safely open schools.
If you'd like to take a look at those metrics set by the UCSD researchers, just log on to cbs8.com and click on the help button. Barbara Lee.
All right, thanks, Shannon. 2 people are dead tonight after a house fire in La Jolla. It started just before 4 a.m. on Caminito La Paz. News 8's Brandon Lewis spoke with neighbors who say that a grandfather and his granddaughter were killed.
Carlo and Barbara Lee, neighbors describe a tragic scene. When firefighters first arrived, they found the home completely engulfed in flames, so much so it forced them to attack the flames from the outside. Once they were able to make entry, they found the bodies of a grandfather and his young granddaughter.
So then I stuck my head out the window, wanting to scream to be quiet, and realized, oh God, there's a fire.
The peace on Caminito La Paz was shattered just before 4 a.m. Monday. Pat Nissan was home asleep when the sounds of a fire next door woke her up.
Things were breaking. Maybe it was windows popping.
By the time firefighters arrived, the house was fully engulfed. 2 people escaped with minor injuries and 2 were overcome by smoke and flames. Neighbors say 3 generations live here from time to time. and identified the deceased as a grandfather and his granddaughter.
There's Grandpa Bob, who doesn't always sleep there because he mostly sleeps someplace else. But the son Robert's there and his two kids, and sometimes there was a girlfriend or something. There was a lot of coming and going.
Firefighters are waiting for the medical examiner to positively identify the remains. Meanwhile, the Metro Arson Strike Team is trying to figure out what sparked the fast-moving fire. When crews pulled up, the flames were so large they had to pull back and fight it from the outside.
In a short period of time, the building's integrity started failing, and we've had two collapses, basically the first floor falling, or second floor falling into the second floor.
Firefighters did not say where the bodies were located in the home, as family members and neighbors try to come to terms with the tragedy.
Oh, I'm sure they're devastated. I mean, the look on Robert's face when I saw him walk by, I mean, how could he not be devastated? I mean, the home's burned down, his father's gone, the other daughter's gone, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't even know how to process that. As a neighbor, I don't know how to process it.
The medical examiner is working to identify the remains of those found inside. Usually this is a process that takes between 24 to 48 hours. No word yet on what school the young girl may have attended. Carlo and Barbara Lee.
San Diego County's COVID-19 case rate is down to about 105 per 100,000 people. The county needs to get down below 100 per 100,000 before the state will consider removing it from the watch list. 228 newly confirmed cases are also being reported out of more than 7,500 tests. That's a positive rate of 3%, below the 14-day rolling average of 5% and better than the last couple of days. The total number of cases is now at 32,975, but about 27,000 of those have recovered. The death toll remains at 594. Today, county leaders heard input from San Diegans on a $6.4 billion budget for the next fiscal year. Some callers said they would like to see law enforcement defunded. Others want more money spent on COVID-19 efforts. County leaders say the pandemic is a top budgetary priority and proposed $100 million for a testing, tracing, and treatment strategy, as well as more PPE and other resources.
Setting up T3 continues to be a massive undertaking, including hiring hundreds of staff and setting up a variety of testing sites such as drive-up, walk-in, and no appointment, and having the flexibility to deploy testing sites into areas disproportionately affected by COVID-19.
Another round of public comments will be held virtually Wednesday at 5:30 in the evening. A final approval vote on the budget is set for August 25th.
Well, some disappointing news tonight for San Diego State football fans. The
Mountain West Conference today officially postponed the season because of COVID-19 health and safety concerns, but hopes to play in the spring. News 8's Steve Price has the story.
It's looking more and more like the college football season will be sacked before it even gets started. But several high-profile players aren't giving up without a fight, and now they're getting support from President Trump.
And Washington walks in.
It's definitely not going to score points with football fans, but San Diego State on Monday joined the growing list of schools canceling their fall season. The whole Mountain West Conference is hoping to push the sport into the spring, joining USD, which already announced the move.
I have just felt like there was too much uncertainty, too much unknown about COVID-19 to play.
Bill McGillis says it wasn't an easy decision, but USD's athletic director says the safety of student athletes and the rest of the college campus community has to come first.
We don't want our college campuses to become super spreaders, or within intercollegiate athletics, a team to become a super spreader within a campus or within a community.
Word is now spreading that several of the Power 5 football conferences, including the Big Ten and Pac-12, will announce similar decisions this week.
Second down. Lawrence is still got it.
And some of the game's biggest stars, including Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence, are not happy about it, taking to social media with the now trending hashtag #WeWannaPlay. And President Trump retweeted it, adding, the student athletes have been working too hard for their season to be canceled.
And they've got Lawrence for a sack back.
Financially, the move could tackle university budgets for a big loss, affecting other sports.
These athletic budgets are 80% from football revenue. So if you don't have football revenue, you don't have sports.
To make it clear, the plan is still to play football, just move it to the spring, which could be logistically tough for a lot of schools with football competing with basketball. But schools say they'll do what it takes to get their student athletes safely on the field.
Our mission at USD is that if the virus allows us to play, we plan to play.
Steve Price, News 8.
2 of the 6 people who went missing from the Idlewild area in the recent months have been located. 30-year-old Jade Kramer and 27-year-old Vanessa Vlasic are both safe and have been removed from the missing persons list. That's according to the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. No further details have been released. 4 other missing persons are still unaccounted for in the Idlewild area, including former La Jolla resident Dia Arams. The 66-year-old went missing in early June from her ranch 11 miles east of Idlewild.